Tensions are rising in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Coast Guard has detected 41 Chinese vessels swarming near Pagasa Island, a clear show of force. Beijing's message, "We are here, and we're not leaving." This vital waterway is crucial for global trade. Any disruption could ripple worldwide. The world is watching as the balance of power hangs in the balance. Let's break down the fleet. The Philippine Coast Guard has identified 41 vessels. This is no ordinary fishing group. Among them, at least 4 Chinese Navy warships equipped with advanced weaponry. Their presence turns this from a civilian issue into a military standoff. A Chinese Coast Guard vessel, larger than many naval destroyers, is also present, known for aggressive tactics like water cannons and dangerous maneuvers. The majority, however, are Chinese maritime militia, state-funded, organized and trained to occupy territory and harass foreign vessels. These so-called fishing boats are a deniable force, working in coordination with the Navy and Coast Guard. 26 militia vessels are part of this swarm. They're not fishing, they're anchoring in large numbers, creating a floating blockade. This tactic denies access to Filipino fishermen and obstructs supply missions. The swarm is passive aggression, physically occupying space while maintaining plausible deniability. It's a multi-layered strategy: military, Coast Guard, and militia, all working together. The goal: assert control without firing a shot. Filipino fishermen are being squeezed out of their own waters. The coordinated presence of these ships is a clear, state-directed operation. The numbers matter, but so do the tactics. This is how China changes the facts on the water. The Philippines faces a blockade, without a single shot fired. The world is watching how Manila will respond. This is a direct challenge to Philippine sovereignty. The West Philippine Sea is internationally recognized as part of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, its legal backyard. By flooding this zone with ships, China is undermining those rights. It's a creeping invasion. No soldiers, just ships. The implications go far beyond the Philippines. The South China Sea is a critical maritime trade route. 1/3 of global shipping passes through. When one nation uses force to intimidate neighbors and restrict access, it threatens freedom of navigation. The United States and its allies have pledged to uphold this principle. China's actions test the rules-based international order, laws and agreements that have kept the peace since World War II. The message, might makes right. The world is watching to see if international law will hold. The outcome here will set a precedent for other global hotspots. The Philippines is fighting for more than territory. It's fighting for the principle that the law, not power, should decide disputes. This is a test for the entire international community. The stakes are high, and the consequences will be felt far beyond these waters. The rules are being rewritten in real time. The world must decide where it stands. China is perfecting gray zone tactics, operating between peace and open war. By using maritime militia disguised as fishing boats, China creates ambiguity and deniability. This makes it hard for the Philippines and its allies to respond without risking escalation. The Philippine Coast Guard is outnumbered and outgunned. Direct confrontation risks a clash with a nuclear-armed power. Inaction allows China to tighten its grip. The gray zone paralyzes opponents, forcing hesitation until it's too late. These militia are organized, trained, and communicate with the Chinese military. They ram boats, block patrols, and occupy reefs, while China denies official involvement. This blurs the line between civilian and military, complicating any response. The US-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty is tested. What counts as an armed attack? China exploits this murky area, pushing boundaries without crossing red lines. The strategy advance claims, avoid war, and keep the world guessing. The Philippines faces a dilemma: act and risk escalation, or do nothing and lose ground. The world is watching how far China will go. Imagine your neighbor starts parking dozens of trucks in your yard, claiming it's theirs. The city records say the yard is yours, but your neighbor ignores them. The trucks block your kids from playing, your mail from arriving. You're trapped in your own home. You call the police. They agree with you, but your neighbor is the biggest on the block and tears up the citation. The police hesitate to act, fearing a bigger fight. Your yard is no longer yours, even though the law is on your side. This is the Philippines' reality. The yard is its exclusive economic zone. The city records are international law. The neighbor's trucks are Chinese vessels. The neighbor uses size and power to ignore the rules. The law is clear, but enforcement is missing. The Philippines faces a bully who changes reality through intimidation. This analogy strips away geopolitics and shows the fundamental injustice. It's not just about territory. It's about fairness and the rule of law. The world must decide if it will stand up to the bully. The stakes are personal for every Filipino. The story is about defending what's rightfully yours. The Philippines' claim is rooted in international law, specifically the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Both China and the Philippines signed this treaty, which defines exclusive economic zones. The area where the Chinese fleet is anchored is well within the Philippines' 200 nautical mile EEZ. Under UNCLOS, the Philippines has exclusive rights to fish and exploit resources there. China's actions violate these rights. In 2013, the Philippines took China to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. The tribunal ruled in 2016. China's 9-dash line has no legal basis, and China violated the Philippines' sovereign rights. The ruling is legally binding, but there's no enforcement mechanism. China rejected the decision, calling it waste paper. The Philippines won on paper, but faces the challenge of enforcing the ruling against a powerful neighbor. International law is clear, but power politics prevail. The world's response will determine if the law means anything. The Philippines stands on legal ground, but needs global support to defend it. The fight is not just legal, it's about upholding the rules-based order. The stakes go beyond the Philippines. The outcome will shape the future of international law. The world is watching. This isn't just about maps and treaties, it's about people. For generations, Filipino fishermen have relied on the West Philippine Sea for their livelihood. Now they face harassment from Chinese ships, blocked, chased, and sometimes attacked. Their small boats are no match for steel-hulled Chinese vessels. Many have had their catch confiscated or boats damaged. The economic impact is severe. Smaller catches, shrinking incomes, rising debt. Every trip to sea is a risk. Will they return safely or face another confrontation? The crisis ripples through local markets, raising fish prices and threatening food security. The psychological toll is heavy, national pride wounded, frustration growing. Filipinos see their legal victory ignored and their fishermen bullied. The sea is a symbol of national identity. Losing it means losing a part of the soul. The human cost is measured in lost income, shattered dreams, and a deep sense of injustice. The world must see the faces behind the headlines. This is a fight for dignity, livelihood, and the future of coastal communities. The stakes are personal and national. The crisis is real, and its impact is profound. The Philippines is fighting back with transparency and alliances. The Coast Guard documents and publicizes China's aggressive actions, photos, videos, and journalist embeds. This assertive transparency counters disinformation and rallies domestic support. By showing the world what's happening in Manila builds a national consensus for stronger defense. Diplomacy is key. The Philippines is strengthening ties with the United States, reaffirming their mutual defense treaty, and expanding joint military exercises. U.S. access to Philippine bases allows for rapid crisis response. The message: the Philippines is not alone. Manila is also building partnerships with Japan, Australia, Canada, France, and the UK. These countries are sending naval vessels to patrol the South China Sea, internationalizing the issue. The goal: raise the diplomatic cost of China's aggression. The Philippines is weaving a web of alliances to defend its rights. The world's support is crucial. The fight is not just military, it's diplomatic, legal, and informational. The Philippines is determined to push back. The world is watching how far it will go. The world is responding. The United States condemned China's actions and reaffirmed its defense commitment to the Philippines. Japan, Australia, and the G7 have voiced support for international law and freedom of navigation. Even within Southeast Asia, support for the Philippines is growing. Experts see three possible futures. First, normalization. China's presence becomes the new normal, and the Philippines loses control. Second, internationalization. The Philippines rallies a coalition to push back, raising the cost for Beijing. Third, peaceful negotiation based on the 2016 ruling. Unlikely given China's current stance, the choices made now will shape the future of the region. The stakes are high, not just for the Philippines, but for the world. Will the law prevail, or will power rewrite the rules? The world must decide if it will defend the rules-based order. The outcome here will echo far beyond these waters. The Philippines stands at the front line of a global test. The world is watching, and history will remember what happens next.